So after a brief break from the content grind, we are back in the driver's seat and in no better time. March is here, college football recruiting is about to start ramping back up, spring practices are popping up across the nation, and the college football news headline cycle is back in full swing. And today, we need to stop in Norman, Oklahoma, where Brent Venables and the Oklahoma Sooners made an intriguing hire, one that we have got to break down. But before we can, as always, y'all know the drill, I've got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Are you excited that Brent Venables brings in Kevin Johns as an offensive analyst? And let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below, as those interactions seem small, but they truly are massive to content creators such as myself. But having said all that, let's dive right into this. And first and foremost, we always like to ask and answer the question, who is the new hire? Who is the new recruit? And in the case of the Oklahoma Sooners, who is Kevin Johns? Well, Kevin Johns is an experienced offensive coordinator, having been a play caller since his 2011 days where he was the co-offensive coordinator at Indiana and wide receivers coach. From there, in 2012 to 2013, he maintained co-offensive coordinator at Indiana, but added in quarterback coach to his role of responsibilities as well as wide receivers coach. From 2014 to 2016, he was the sole offensive coordinator at Indiana, maintaining quarterback and wide receiver responsibilities. From there, he moved to Western Michigan to be the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 2017. 2018, he was the offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach at Texas Tech. From 2019 to 2021, offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at Memphis. And from 2022 to 2023, the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at Duke. So he is an experienced play caller. He didn't get his start at Indiana, but that's where he started getting acclimated to offensive play calling. Before Indiana, he was at Northwestern. He was at Richmond College in Richmond, Virginia, and he was at Northwestern as a graduate assistant after being a high school assistant coach. So this is someone who has the coaching experience. He's been a play caller at the Division I Power 5 level at multiple stops. Whether we're talking about Indiana, whether we're talking about most recently Duke or Texas Tech, there's a lot to like here, but there is a trend that I noticed that really stuck out to me. And that's his work with the quarterback position, going as far back as 2012, having started coaching quarterbacks, but he was a quarterback himself at Dayton. So he understands the position. He understands what it takes to be successful at the position. And the reason why that's interesting, Oklahoma is bringing out a brand new starting quarterback this year in former five-star Jackson Arnold, who we got to see against Arizona. And Jackson Arnold is a guy that has got a lot of upside. You just changed offensive coordinators. Now you have Luttrell, who, by the way, has a history with Kevin Johns from their time at Indiana together. But bringing in someone else who you know, like, hey, this guy's worked with quarterbacks. He's done so at multiple different places. And he just got done working with Leonard Riley. And before Leonard Riley had that unfortunate ankle injury, he was on his way to a really productive season. He was really standing out in the games where he was healthy, and he'd been really on a ramp-up period since Johns got there in 2022. So being able to get in someone who is a former offensive coordinator at the Power 5 level as an offensive analyst is always a big win. We would talk about this extensively when Nick Saban would do it at Alabama, where he would get in former head coaches or former offensive, defensive coordinators to come be analysts for his team. That's always a massive, massive win. You get to add in real positive coaching experience for a very small price to pay relative to what other teams would be willing to pay Kevin Johns. Oklahoma has got to be very excited that they get him in here, and especially a Jackson Arnold. Because Oklahoma returns a lot of exciting talent on the offensive side of the ball to some very exciting wide receivers, Jackson Arnold, some very exciting running backs, but there's still a lot of new for the Oklahoma Sooners. You're moving from the Big 12 to the SEC. You have to replace your offensive line, though you retain Bill Bedenbaugh, and if you have Bill Bedenbaugh, he gets the benefit of the doubt. He's one of those guys. But if you can start answering some of those questions, or at least attempting to answer some of those questions, you're doing yourself a real positive service. And it's going to be interesting for what this means for Jackson Arnold moving forward. But if you are an OU fan, I don't think you can argue with having another veteran play caller in the room, especially as an analyst, someone that just got done working successfully with Riley Leonard. If you're Jackson Arnold, if you're an OU fan, I can imagine you're excited about this, but I can't wait to hear from all of you. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking about this move. That's it. See you.